Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and before we get going, I want to remind you, link to my sponsor. They just launched this streamlined onboarding process that takes just a few minutes, giving all investors instant access to invest on the platform. Visit link2.com, or you can download the Link2 app, linqto.com. All right, let me get my mouse going here. Check this out. Until yesterday, crypto was a scam, and today it's the new oil and gold. This is from Forbes, and I don't see a date on this article. New oil and gold. Crypto is suddenly braced for the most important week after Federal Reserve powered Bitcoin price surge. Now, this is Michael Burry. You may remember him from The Big Short. That's what the movie was based on. Listen to what he says about the Ponzi scheme that's being run here in the U.S.
Well, I think the point at which the degree to which we can tax our population is eclipsed by the amount of our interest on our debt. Basically, makes us a Ponzi scheme of some sort, and I think that's the point. I think it's very hard to pick that spot. There's a long history. This is one of those things I think our leaders, our government are kind of in this teenage state right now. There's this long history we can rely on for a more mature view of how things work. And I think there's a long history of governments lasting a whole lot longer than they should. And, a lot that we'd rather not have happen. Certainly all the dictators seem to get it done.
Okay, I think you get the point. Now, this clip right here reminds me, if you were probably around, most of you, when Anthony Pompliano, it was like he caught himself and said something stupid. He said that when you think about it, money is stored energy. Okay, so now this Jack Mallers, who's their new guy, their young guy that they've picked to be like this face of Bitcoin and the Bitcoin marketing machine, he's now picking up that same kind of BS. And I do mean BS.
Consider it. Oh, Larry Fink just wants to have BlackRock to have an ETF because they can earn the fees on it. But I think it's more than that. I think they know what's coming. They themselves need Bitcoin. Their clients need Bitcoin. I think if presidential candidates are looking at Bitcoin, they need Bitcoin. It's that kind of game theory is played out that everyone kind of needs Bitcoin now.
Yeah, listen, I like the global debt to GDP is my favorite metric, because what it tells you, so money is our time and energy in an abstracted form, right? What I mean by that is you guys do this podcast in exchange for money. Someone mows a lawn in exchange for money.
This is very awkward for me to listen to.
Fixes a windshield in exchange for money. Bags groceries in exchange for money. And so it is our contributions to society, our time, our energy, captured in an abstracted form.
Stored energy.
For a government to take out debt or borrow, money is about borrowing our time and energy. So I think government debt is the closest thing we've ever seen to time travel, because you're borrowing the collective populace time and energy from the future. How do you time travel? Well, we haven't figured that out yet, but how do you get close? Is you borrow human time and energy from the future. And so by looking at global debt, you can see how much time and energy from the human population and its future have been borrowed. And then if you look at the growth, which is what that metric tells us, is how is that time and energy they're borrowing being invested in their ability to pay that back? And with global debt to GDP at over 300%, it means they've borrowed a lot of our future and a lot of our time and energy with no way to pay it back. And what everyone's realizing is that loss has to be realized. So there is a loss. Governments have borrowed our time and energy, in my opinion, arguably maliciously so, without permission, and they don't know how to pay it back. And so I think everyone, including Larry Fink now even, is looking around the room and like, who's realizing that loss? Whose time and energy is going towards paying that back. And
man, what a bunch of bull crap. Okay. All right. And then, no, this. Ask yourself this question. He's talking here about, this guy's talking about how the central banks want to divert your attention away from them because of the money supply issues. Where are they diverting your attention, folks?
It's all about
I'll give you a hint. It starts with a B.
the money supply. It's always about the fuel in the economy. Why people can't get this through their heads is beyond me. But the reason for it, I know. It's the central bankers. The central bankers want to divert the public's attention away from them because they don't want people to look at the money supply. Because who's responsible for the
Away from them and away from the fact that the central banks are accumulating gold.
money supply? It's the central bankers. So if the money supply isn't behaving properly, and we have either slowdown in inflation or growth in inflation, the central bankers want to put our eyes on something else, and they've been very successful at doing it. They almost have a monopoly on the press, by the way. The press just feeds at the trough of the central bankers.
That's right. There is no press anymore. No investigative journalism except on social media, but that's under attack right now. I'm going to talk a lot about that in DAIXRP.com today. We are entering a very scary time, folks, and it's going to be scary for all of us, including me. I'm going to show you how and why, exactly what I think that they're about to do. Okay, but let's go back to this. Fruition Productions, who is doing the XRP Unleashed documentary, put this out yesterday. We're excited to announce we are targeting the release of XRP Unleashed for this November. We've taken matters into our own hands and are pursuing self-distribution. This means the documentary will be available on a few platforms like Apple TV and Amazon without their support. Hollywood in general is in free fall, so there's less appetite more than ever on new content that isn't from established providers. This means, just like we've done the whole time, we have to remain self-financed and produce the project without their assistance. This is gonna look. This person right here says, just curious, what kind of resistance are you getting? I was excited to see this on Netflix at some point, but whenever it is, I will help promote. I wonder if any of the big names would help make some feels happen, get some feelers out, I guess. Maybe Brad Garlinghouse knows some people. Brad and his executive team are not willing to appear, although we did interview David. When you see the scope of what we're covering, I actually don't blame them at all. Resistance in the form of requiring lots of story compromises, then arbitrary celebrity. So it's happening November. I would imagine, I don't know, but I would imagine that ETHgate there's a lot of these Hollywood, I mean, these are all, folks, these people are all tied together. I would imagine there's a lot of them that don't want this documentary showed. That's why it'll be popular. Look at this. This is how evil what we're dealing with is, folks. Breaking: White House has denied Secret Service for RFK Jr. They offered it on July 15th, 2 days after the Trump, that attempt thing that we don't talk about out here. Here's why it's double dumb to move by Biden-Kamala administration. They're forcing RFK to go on the campaign trail with Trump, which only hurts them. As if you hadn't pissed off RFK Jr. enough, now you're really turning him against you at all costs. Purely spiteful and insecure and short-term thinking, not strategic at all. Now, folks, this is where things get scary, because this is going to affect all of us. The same way that Twitter censorship affected us in the 2020 election, they literally lied to us and hid the Hunter Biden laptop information. They said it was Russian disinformation, and they knew that that was a lie. We have a government that is now actively lying to us and actively willing to censor us to lie to us. I mean, it's that bad. So how how bad are their sins that they've got to do this? That's the question. And I think they're really, really, really bad. And I think that what they're going to put in motion to do moving forward is going to be, would make Stalin jealous, okay? I think that what they're about to try to do, it could be scary to all of us who are used to having freedom. And I'm going to talk about that in DAIXRP.com. But first I wanted to show you where this ball has begun to roll. Telegram founder Pavel Durov has been arrested at a French airport facing 20 years in jail for refusing to censor his platform. Okay, charges include terrorism and money laundering. So let me translate what they're really doing. What they're doing is, because they don't want Telegram to allow free speech that they don't control, this is what they're creating. They're saying, okay, oh, so-and-so posted some bad thing. And who knows, it's probably some of the three-letter agencies putting people out there to say some of this stuff to get the controversy going. That's how these people operate. But all they have to have is one or two comments that they can point to and say, see, you're responsible for that. And these people, this is terrorism and money laundering. And then they're going after these guys. This is how they're trying. I don't think it's about arresting this guy. I think it's about, once you arrest the guy, then you go in his company and you create the three-letter agency back doors that he wouldn't let them have. That's what I think it's about. Then you've got this, the Rumble CEO. And remember, I'll never forget it, because on some platforms that I won't say the name of, you weren't even able in 2020, you weren't even able to watch a Trump speech on those platforms. Up sprung Rumble because people want the truth. And so they started going to Rumble. Rumble started to grow massively. And then once Rumble gets to a place where it could start to really get the word out and maybe even become a rival to YouTube at some point, not now, but at some point, what do? This is the CEO of Rumble. He has fled Europe. I'm a little late to this, but for good reason. I've just safely departed Europe. France has threatened Rumble. Now they have crossed a red line by arresting Telegram CEO, reportedly for not censoring speech. Rumble will not stand for this behavior and will use every legal means available to fight for freedom of expression, a universal human right. Now, folks, do you think it's a coincidence that we're 2 months away from the election and that they're doing this now? They need to shut it down now. That is what this is about. Now, in DAIXRP, I'm going to talk to you about just how evil I think this thing can get. And I'm going to, including how I'm literally, because of these commies, going to have to modify my speech because of how evil and dangerous I think these people are. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Here we go.